Welcome to 3 Steps. This is the second part of a 4-part interview with Josh LeGassick. That's right, I said 4 parts because we did 2 hours of interviewing. He has so much information to share. He is a businessman in the corporate tech world, and he has been doing this for a very long time, and he's helped 3 startups. And he's just helped one go public after being invested in it for 12 years. He's currently in Vegas looking for a new project. So in this one, we go over confidence and success and thriving, and he gives you 2 fantastic tricks, one in confidence and one in success, that have helped him in his success as a businessman. And then in thriving, he gives you a real deep dive. So I'm gonna keep this short. Enjoy the interview, and I'll see you on the other side. What does confidence mean to you?
Confidence has to do with trusting who you are. So it's hard to trust who you are if you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have I am who I say I am, or I am this or that, in some positive way, I guess. There could be negative things that you are that you wouldn't be confident about.
Right.
So I think that confidence has a lot to do with being who you say you are, or trusting yourself. And something I mentioned about my dad is probably going to be confusing here, having a stepdad and a dad, and they're both dads to me, but is that you can argue with somebody but not be against them. You can listen to somebody's point of view but not agree with them.
Yeah.
And I think people should be allowed to be who they are. And so for me, confidence is giving yourself the ability, whatever way you want to say it, giving yourself permission to be who you are. Whatever that is in the moment. Yes, there are exceptions. Talked about fighting and aggressiveness and violence a little bit here. So certainly hurting other people is like a kind of a universal principle. I hope we're all against. As long as you don't break somebody else's boundary and hurt somebody else and do harm to somebody else, I believe people should all feel free to be themselves, say what they have to say, and trust who they are.
Yeah.
And I think actually that takes a lot of practice. That specifically isn't innate, versus you might say, like people give me this feedback about being confident, but they're not talking about what I just said.
Yeah.
They're not talking about me believing in who I am. They're talking about some persona thing that exudes. Now maybe they're connected, but I certainly didn't develop. I had confidence before I looked inside to create who I am.
Right.
And I didn't know who I was when I already had confidence as 12 years old or 6 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
So that to me it's kind of a part of the diversity of all people having, making the world better than everybody being the same as one kind of person.
Right.
To me, but for me, confidence is more about being who you think you are, who you say you are, and I think all people should be free to be that, whatever that is.
You weren't always confident, so you got here. How did you develop your confidence, or what allowed you to evolve into the confidence you have today?
One of my early memories was of my grandparents saying things like, you can be whoever you want to be. You can be anything. Now, I know people hopefully are still saying that.
Yeah.
It's more true now, I think, than it used to be.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was, I want to be like my dad, or I want to be like the president.
Oh, wow.
And I believed that was possible. And then at some point I was like, that's not going to happen, or I don't want to do that, or, but I think there was how I became that confident was getting it from the top down, from my parents and grandparents, and the positive nurturing. You got to do your chores, you got to do your schoolwork, and a lot of people don't get straight A's. And so I don't know how that would have worked for me, but because their willingness to, if you do this, then you can get that, like the give and take of do your homework and then you can watch TV, whatever you want to call it. But there's a really, for me, really early age, 5-6-year-old belief that you can be anything you want to be. And if you want to be the president of the United States, the most powerful man in the world or woman in the world, you can be that.
Yeah.
And always believed that as a kid growing up. And whenever somebody would challenge that I couldn't do something or be better than me at something, whatever it was, if I wanted to, I was going to take on that challenge.
Right.
Yeah. But not everybody does that.
Yeah.
Some people partner at that age.
Yeah.
You know, some people form groups of friends that don't compete in the same way that I was thinking of it as a kid. One of the things that I do now and have done for 20 plus years, probably 30 years, is if there's a place of weakness, create a game.
Oh.
So I like sports, so you're hearing a little bit of that in this, and it's you know, been one of my passions as a person, as a man, as a child, as a boy, and competitiveness is involved in that. But there's places where I wasn't good. Like I was better at math than at English, for example.
Right.
So create a game. Most of the time, you don't think of your homework as a game. It's like an assignment and maybe even a punishment. Like, do I have to do this every day in school? Yeah. Right? But if you create a game out of it, for me, so baseball specifically helped me create all kinds of games in life.
Oh, shit.
With statistics and metrics, and so you can measure everything. It doesn't have to be, oh, I want to be a millionaire. Well, how do you become a millionaire? I don't know, I'm just going to be one someday. It doesn't work like that. I mean, yes, for some people that probably happens. Yeah. How did they become Twitter millionaires? I don't know. Some people know how to do that. Yeah. I haven't taken on that game or Instagram models or whatever that whole culture is that I'm not an expert at. But you can always get better in any sport. Right, if you can't, even if you're the best one year, the next year you're not. So you have to always keep creating some other metric, some other game, some other angle, something, whether it's external, people give you feedback in life, you can take that and create a game from it or out of it for yourself, or you see it for yourself in somebody else, and you don't see it over here, or you don't see it the same way that they, you know, it's different, you see a difference, and then you go create a game out of it. That's how I got into like starting, how I had the confidence to start a company when I was like in my 20s was to create a game out of it. It wasn't like my passion, it was somebody's passion, but I believed we could make anything work. Yeah. So let's just create metrics and business metrics, right? And have it be a game, and we can win or lose, but you learn things that you need to learn to start a company. Whether you win or lose, you learn those things. That's right? Brilliant. I didn't talk about it this way back then. And so my dad actually told me that when I was like probably 14. You know, maybe, most likely I was complaining about something I wasn't good at or something somebody said to me. And he, said to me, well, what I know about you is anytime you create a game, you can master that game and you can win that game. So why don't you create a game out of it? And so from hearing, and he's told me that more than once, but from hearing that, I gained confidence in areas where I didn't have it anymore. Create a game here. Yeah. You know, what would be a game to become more compassionate? I can just make it up, and then I can ask people if this, works or not for them, if it doesn't make sense. I can ask people who are compassionate what they think, basically, or more compassionate. Yeah. If I want to start a business, ask people who started businesses, because everybody fails all the time. Yeah. And as much as you want to just hit home runs and score touchdowns in life and in your relationships and win everything, I wish it wasn't this way, but there's things you can't learn without failing. You can learn more by failing more. I know I wish it didn't work that way. It's counterintuitive. Yeah, it is counterintuitive. I think there's value in teaching people how to grow strength or character out of failure. And I think you have to do it on purpose to do that. It's not like let me miss 10 free throws in a row on purpose by throwing them backwards. Not like that. Yeah. But you have to try so hard at something that's so impossible to fail at for you. Yeah. And get back up and do it again. And get back up and do it again. Like the example of being a boxer and being knocked down, and it's not how you fight, it's how you getting back up. To me, that's so isolated into a certain kind of sport that I don't feel it everywhere, even though it is right, right? It's like a Murphy's Law kind of a thing. Oh, yeah. But it didn't give me a lot of access to how to be proud of myself because I got knocked down. Yeah, you learned to duck. So if
fucking true.
You learn to duck. I didn't. I learned to get hit a lot in the face.
Yeah, right.
I did.
It's fucking true.
I challenged bigger people, and they just punched me in the face, and I couldn't even reach them, and I looked like a total idiot trying to fight them. Somebody my size or smaller, I'm okay. But going for that extra challenge, I did.
Oh yeah.
Even when I ducked, I got hit right in the face.
Fuck.
Yeah. But there's something about some kind of mental toughness that gets created by seeking out failure, finding failures, learning from failures. I don't know what the right language is for that.
Oh no, dude, you have.
All the champions talk about that,
Yeah,
right?
I have no idea. This is a common thread in these interviews.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's absolutely a common thread
idea.
in these interviews. More because I'm talking to guys that are successful, right? And so they're thriving. So you weren't always successful. You weren't always thriving.
Right.
So it's like,
No.
how'd you get here? And it's like, well, I fell down. I fucked up. I did it again. And it's like it's a consistent through thread with the men that I'm interviewing here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I can tell you, I don't know if you can see it on my face or not, like, I don't want to fail.
Yeah.
So I don't have that character 100% that I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But if you ask me, like, what do I want my kids to learn, or what do I wish I could have learned at 12 like I learned to be confident?
Yeah.
I would learn to somehow create some mental toughness to thrive, the word you used, in failures. And and even in successes, I think you can get so successful you kind of can't, you plateau also, right? Everybody plateaus, or people who are trying to master things, you plateau at stuff for a while. Losing weight, you plateau, and then you're like, but I'm doing the same things. How can I do it leaner when I'm already doing everything as lean as I can?
Right.
I'm only having 500 calories. How can I lose this weight, right? So I don't have that mental toughness as much as I want to.
Yeah.
But I think that I would, I think there's a great benefit in it. For me, the challenge there is, how do you create mental toughness without negativity? Somehow, for me, there's a connection between being tough and being mean. And being, not to yourself necessarily, I'm not mean to myself, but so there's some kind of stigma there for me that I haven't examined.
Yeah.
But failure, I'm even in my head when I say failure, the first thing I think of is failure is not an option.
Yeah. Right.
But it's not meant as you have to succeed. It's meant as you got to keep trying.
Yeah.
And I think of it as succeed.
Right.
Not keep trying. I have to pay attention to myself about that.
Yeah.
To not give up on certain things.
Right.
Or people in work life relationships.
Yeah.
It's not it's not a failure unless you say it is.
What does success mean to you?
Definitely not anything about money or power in the way that people think of power, whether it's politics or leadership kind of power. To me, I think success is, and this is kind of one of my through lines in life, and what I mentioned a little bit earlier, which is being true to yourself. And you can't be true to yourself unless you create who you are, you know who you are, and then you have to practice something, integrity. You have to measure it, and you have to own up to failures in it. You have to acknowledge, when you lie, cheat, steal, whatever you do that isn't what you said you were, to restore yourself back. But I think that is, for me, success is being true to yourself. Oh, I really wish I wrote a book. That's not my passion, so it's not being true to, it's not like, oh, I haven't written a book, so I'm a failure.
Yeah.
But if that was my passion, then I should do that thing.
You should do the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I try to do lots of things that aren't my passion, and that don't have anything to do with who am I. I watch a lot of TV. That doesn't have anything to do with any belief I have that I should be a TV watching person.
Yeah.
I'm critiquing actors and stuff, and I don't know. I feel like I'm from LA. I should do that. That's part of how I grew up.
Right.
That's part of who I am. And my family and everybody in my family, we talk about TV shows. We talk about movies, right?
Right.
But that is not being true to myself.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with it. That's entertainment. That's rest or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But there are things like, if I say I'm going to be peaceful, then be peaceful. If I say that if I say in my career I'm going to make this, amount of money, then go do it. And when you don't, then, work towards that, create your goals, create a games out of it to get there. But still, it's not about the money. It's about you said so. So what am I saying about myself, who do I say I am, and then being true to that. I think you can probably be true to who you are without doing some kind of what we would all nowadays be used to as creating yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that might be too jargony, I don't know, but you have to examine yourself a lot to do that, because everything you already are is kind of automatic, right?
Maybe.
As we grow up, we kind of just think, I am confident this way, and I am good at this, and I'm bad at that. But then if you want to create something different, nobody's going to do it to you, so you kind of have to write it out or think about it or ask people questions. You have to be in an inquiry of some sort in life to do that. Then you can be true to that, what you create. So you can be true to what's automatic, but I think that's more dangerous.
Yeah. So you weren't always successful?
No.
And
no. Right out of college, man, I graduated, my friends were still in school, so I went to Europe and traveled for almost 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Traveled and worked. None of that had to do with being successful, but it taught me a lot about myself and being in foreign countries and being around completely different people, all on my own and traveling, my own barriers to meeting new people. That taught me a lot. But then I came back to it, and I worked, but nothing you would care about success in. Just working to pay to save money to go on the next traveling trip.
Right.
But when I came back, it was like impossible to find a job to me. Nobody had good jobs.
Yeah.
Had I not left and had I gone straight into certain companies, my life would have been different, but I wouldn't have gotten to live in Europe for 2 years and had those experiences. But it was like you're out of college and the best you can do is have a job for $24,000 to $35,000 a year and barely scrape by and pay the rent. And then at some point I had 3 jobs. And I worked not exactly 24 hours a day all the time, but kind of like that.
Yeah.
I worked 6, 7, 8 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And in some ways I did that until I wouldn't put up with it anymore. I didn't know any better. I didn't know how to break through to a more successful kind of bubble there. How I got through to success was by through friends and family, through help from other people. What I mean by that is, hey, you're really hard, you bust your ass, you do all these great things, but it doesn't change your income.
Right.
There's other jobs you could do.
Right.
And if somebody didn't tell me that, I would have just kept trying to fumble through it and figure it out myself.
Right.
And somebody's like, if you're willing to take this risk, you can start at that same kind of salary in this kind of business success world, but you can make more than that if you work really well, and here's a career path to get there.
Right.
And I didn't know anybody else who did anything like that.
Right.
It wasn't what I studied. It wasn't, anything I ever thought I would do for work. But I knew that if I just kept doing what I was doing, I wasn't going to go anywhere.
Right.
So at some point, how much more of this am I going to put up with, right? And the struggle, And none of my parents or friends and family were like, oh, you should just pluck you here and put you there. It wasn't like that easy.
Yeah.
So I trusted somebody, and I went and interviewed for a job, and they said they had job openings, and I took this job in Silicon Valley in the Bay Area, doing something I didn't know anything about. And because I believed that I could, double my income and still just work hard, and I just have to learn something completely new.
Right.
I was very persistent with this guy. And I don't know if it was my persistence that won him over, or if, as far as I know, nobody even left or anything. He just had been looking for the right person, and finally he was like, I'm hiring you. One way to accelerate your success is to have a mentor.
Oh, yeah.
In business, in sports, they have coaches. Right? In life, there's life coaches. And, so you can find, and it doesn't have to be a paid, like in corporate America, you're looking for a mentor above you that is in a place you want to get to. Each level in my career, I've had to have a mentor. And that has helped me learn the good things about me, that I'm proud and happy of. I learned the bad things about me that I got to change to be more successful in this job, in this career area. When I've been in a career level where I couldn't find a mentor, it's plateau. Couldn't grow. Your mentor may not be in your division, your line of work, and you got to try what they're saying to see something they're saying that you should see, that you can't see doing it the way you're doing.
See it until you get there. Yeah.
So I just left a company that I was with for almost 12 years in technology, software company, and for the first 5 or 6 years, I had a mentor. So I, accelerated through the roof. Yeah. But I do think a mentor is part of success for people. I don't know if it's easier or better, but I have a hard time seeing it without a mentor now.
Yeah.
The way that I did as a kid, it's like, is this water? Is this Jello? What am I swimming through? How do I get to the other side? It's counterintuitive stuff. Maybe it's counterintuitive because we all have different personalities. And it's whatever it is, it's somehow fixing your image, your personality, you're something for this division, that, this part.
Thriving. What does thriving mean to you?
I almost think that thriving is like farming. You have a patch of land. What I think of when it's thriving is that things are growing on it. I think that if things are growing, life is happening, passion is present. I think that's more to me what thriving is about. The funny thing is that my son has a startup in technology, and his company is funded by a company called Thrive. They're one of the big East Coast VC funds. So in their terminology, it means growth, right? And I guess I'm saying the same thing. You're farming, things are growing. So it means growing, but I don't know that it means making money, is kind of what I'm trying to get at. So if I keep this kind of analogy about being a farmer, you're cultivating things. You cultivate relationships. You cultivate money in your business world. You are cultivating your children, growth, and who they are as people. Yeah, I think and to me, there's something about Thrive has passion in it, and it has growth, but like usually when I think of growth, it means like more. And at some point I feel like I don't need more. Like, people have that conversion at some age where all of a sudden it's less is more kind of a thing. So I don't know what the right version there is, but it's not more. Maybe it's not better either. Maybe it's not deeper, but it's some kind of thing there about cultivating yourself, your relationships, your life, because it can't just be, here's a list of the 5 objectives of this year and accomplishing them. That keeps you active. That might get you success in those areas. But if every year I'm doing this 5 different things, but 5 things, I don't know if that connects directly to thriving per se. So there's some kind of emotional attachment to the word. There's some kind of feeling. When you say, are you thriving or not? So it still means going forward or up or expanding, but I don't think it has to mean more. It doesn't have to be like your company doesn't have to be making $1 million more than last year to be thriving. The people could be thriving, right? The culture could be thriving. There could just be joy or something that you wanted to create in the environment that you're in life that equals thriving, some emotional experience of thriving, not the mores and the having things and all that. There's some kind of inner peace that happens when you're thriving. I don't know how else to describe. I do kind of connect it less to doing and more to a feeling, or a vibration, or a synchronicity, or everybody on the same page.
Synchronicity is a great example of it.
Or something. If you create a vision and then you see it happening, there's that experience of synchronicity, the flow, it's working. And one of our friends, Kai, has been creating this project, and I could hear Free Zone, and I can hear when it's thriving in the, in the engagements and the events when it's happening, and I can hear it from how people talk about it. And I can hear it in how it's there's still effort, there's still work, there's things you have to do, but it's not all doing it in a linear fashion, maybe, is another way of looking at it. It's not just A before B before C. It's harmony, too. And for me, I don't think I get that without creating it. Like, I don't, is it harmony just because I go to work and make money? No, but if I'm creating something like the fulfillment of my peace and happiness, or I'm trying to transform my relationship to compassion, then I can experience when I'm thriving in it and when I'm not. But I don't think it works on accident like that. I think you have to have some creation, intention, some vision towards something.
Thanks for watching. What do you think of that interview? Do you like that gamifying conversation and confidence, or the idea he gave you about getting a mentor? Do you have a mentor? Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think of the interview. Subscribe. Hit the like button. All right. Tomorrow, bonus footage. All right. See you tomorrow.